deal with airplane peanuts?
The unique history of stand-up comedy specials being released in movie theaters started 42 years ago when Richard Pryor's legendary special Live on the Sunset Strip premiered all across the country in March of 1982 and instantly skyrocketed the popularity of stand-up at the time.
Yeah, I became a fan of stand-up, watching stand-up on TV, like watching like The Tonight Show and Evening at the Improv and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But really the big one, the run that really kicked in for me was my parents took me to see Live on the Sunset Strip.
Oh, wow.
And I was a young teenager. And I remember being in the audience while Richard Pryor was on stage slaying. And people were laughing so hard. And I was laughing so hard. I looked around. I'll never forget this moment. Because I looked around at the crowd while the movie was going on. And all these people were like, falling out of their chairs, slapping their knee, holding their chest.
5 years later, Eddie Murphy's stand-up special Raw grossed $50.5 million in theaters, a record that still stands to this day. All throughout the 90s, the biggest comedy names continued to release their new specials this way, including Dice Clay, Martin Lawrence, the original Kings of Comedy, and most recently in 2016, Kevin Hart generated $28 million at the box office with his special What Now?
Let's go make these people laugh. People are paying a good number to come and see you perform. You don't want that show to just be an average show.
Since then, it's been nearly a decade since stand-up comedy has premiered in theaters, but on May 21st, 2025, there will finally be a new name to add to the list.
I keep saying I'm literally the least successful comedian to ever have a special in a theater. Honestly, it wasn't my idea originally. This fellow, Richard Matheson, he's a film distributor. This is what he does for a living. He's distributed, he was going to distribute Louis' movie that ended up getting canceled, and he's distributing my documentary. And so he had the idea, let's try to do stand-up comedy in a cinema. That seemed fun to me. I mean, I love the movies. I love going to the movies. And I think a lot of cinemas are just struggling. And so it's almost like an experiment. One of my big complaints about comedy specials, and I actually hate comedy specials for this reason, is I just think live, everything is so much better. I talk about this all the time. Like, as good as Bring the Pain is, it's 100 times better if you saw it live. So this brings back that kind of feeling. Because I always feel like a special, you're on your couch watching people watch comedy. But if you watch it in a cinema, now you're with people watching comedy. It feels more like a real event. So I hope people go and feel that way.
As a comedy fan, I was very excited when I heard about this because it is like the closest you can get of like you basically doing that special to all of us at once. But what's going to happen to it after it releases in theaters?
We are still trying to figure that out. I'm thinking probably YouTube again. YouTube has done well for me. We pitched it to Netflix, sent it to Netflix, and whatever reason they give, I don't really know exactly. My reps talk to them. I think I'm not quite big enough or weird enough, whatever it is. I don't really know, but that's okay. And I've been doing YouTube, and they keep growing, and or at least my fans keep growing. The specials get less and less viewers, but I think that's because YouTube has changed quite a bit. And the last one I said the C word, so pretty early on, I think. So I think probably YouTube, but we'll see.
Even though Small Ball will likely be streaming on YouTube after its theater release, still going to watch it in person on the 21st is a rare opportunity for the very best comedy viewing experience. There's no question stand-up is way funnier live than it is on screen, but packing into a movie theater with fellow like-minded comedy fans for a special premiere is as close as you can get to a live show atmosphere. Comedy has more diehard and educated fans today than ever before, and as regular business at movie theaters continues to decline, if cinemas do see a bump in business from people going to see Small Ball, stand-up premieres in theaters might be coming all the way back, especially with YouTube's landscape becoming more and more unreliable for comics. Even for someone like Joe List, who was a pioneer of the YouTube special space and has raked in millions of views on past projects, but still can be arbitrarily shut down by the algorithm at any moment.
Yeah, I know. YouTube's not what it used to be, so good for
It's
you.
also just the scariest place because you, one, get to look at all the numbers.
Yes.
Yeah. The beauty of Netflix, you're like, everyone's seeing it, right? It's right there. It must be millions at this point.
True. And the comments. Don't forget the comments. My God.
Oh, yeah.
And also just like one misstep with a word and you're like, are they going to bury this?
Oh, yeah.
Because that happened to List, right? He said, and they just, and Joe's pretty clean.
Wasn't it in a pretty like benign way too, the way he said it?
Yeah.
It wasn't like a major I mean, I know there's only so many benign ways to say.
Yeah.
But I think contextually it wasn't a big deal.
But yeah, he said it 40 minutes in too, and they still kind of flagged him.
Does that in your head when you're putting together your hour at all, or no? Because this one seemed pretty, algorithm friendly at the beginning or whatever, but was that intentional or just what the jokes happen to be?
No, it's just what the jokes happen to be. I try to never do any of this stuff. To me, it's all just whatever I'm doing that weekend in the comedy club. It just kind of takes its own shape, and then after a while, I'm like, all right, this feels pretty good. This is an hour, and then for me, it's I just do a new hour when I start. I can't remember all the jokes. I'm like, I have too many jokes for a show that's live at whatever the Funny Bone. So I'm like, let me record those and start new.
Speaking of the YouTube landscape, you are the king of content. Comedians film everything nowadays, as you obviously know. What's the difference between getting footage for just your regular social media versus getting it for a special?
I don't know. We shot a lot of like bonus shit for the special that I'm like, I actually felt that way. We shot a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I kind of felt like this just feels like regular old bullshit. The special, I still think of the special as comedy, and I'm outdated now, but to me, a 1 hour concert, for lack of a better term, is still what I want to be good at, do, even if it doesn't do as much for you as a 1 minute clip of calling someone a fat asshole or whatever. I try to make a special feel special as much as I can.
That makes sense. This might just be a stupid question from the production side of things, but like, why is it so much more expensive to film a special? Like, when I just see your regular clips, they look good too. Like, why is it so much harder to film a special?
That is a great question. I guess you need coverage. I mean, because I've had this same thought where I'm like, couldn't we just shoot this with one camera? Just can put a camera on me? Because I've had videos on YouTube that are me goofing off and they get 100,000 views and it's shot with one shitty camera. So I don't know. I mean, the special does look and feel different, though. I mean, we used like 7 cameras. This special, there was like a smoke machine, and we paid for a background and all this stuff. I remember when I first shot my first special, I talked to a couple comics, very big, successful comics, and they were like, you probably have to spend $100,000. And I was like, well, I don't have $100,000. And I ended up spending like $9,000, and I thought it looked great, and it did well. It's the biggest thing I've ever done. So it's a great question, and I don't really have an answer to.
Okay, well, something that you did decide to keep in this special was a little bit of playing with the audience, like the Mountain Dew joke, some interaction, stuff like that. When it comes to an official special, like the concert official 55-minute thing, was there any debate to keep in audience interaction like that, or do you think that it just shows kind of like your silly personality on stage that works for you?
Well, I always like a special to feel like one show. Just here's the show, this is what this hour looked like, doing stand-up on a random night. But we definitely cut some. The last one, I felt like, the last special I did enough for everybody. I felt like I left too much in. I actually just left it to the like producers to be like, I don't want to watch it because I hate watching myself. And I think that was actually more crowd work than I would have liked in there. And then a lot of people responded like, oh, this wasn't ready yet, this wasn't tight. And I'm like, well, it was tight, we just included me f***ing off. We included a couple on this one, but I cut a bunch too because I didn't want it to feel like this wasn't a ready hour, because it was. But then sometimes something funny enough or silly happens and you're like, just leave that in, that was funny.
I had the chance to watch Small Ball before our interview with Joe, and I gotta say, not only is the material funny from start to finish, but this special is also put together in a very unique way that is on par with its release method. Small Ball is the first full special that Joe List has ever filmed outside of New York City, and was created by piecing together 4 total shows that were shot at 2 different locations 45 minutes apart in Chicago, Zany's Rosemont and Zany's Downtown, and the special flips between both venues seamlessly for 55 minutes.
I feel like people ask me, what was the idea? And I'm like, I didn't have any idea. And there's nothing really artistic about it, but I love Zany's Rosemont. I always thought that'd be a great spot to shoot. It's got a low stage, the crowd's right on top of you. But then Zany's Downtown is, and I hate to sound pretentious, it's like cinematic. It's like a beautiful room. It's an old burlesque kind of room, a titty bar. And so I thought we might as well shoot there. And then I thought it'd be kind of interesting to cut them together and just have 2 different nights, 2 different crowds. And I think it has kind of 2 different feels, but not too jumpy. You saw it, I think. So it's not, I think it works.
Yeah, you don't know. I've seen other specials that go between clubs and rooms, and you don't really notice when yours switches until you do. And then you go, oh, wow, and the crowds are a little different. And I really like the cinematic shot is behind you when you can see all the pictures on the wall in the club. That looks really cool.
Yeah, I just love both those rooms. So,
well, when you're filming a special, like you said, the crowds had 2 different kind of energies. Is there ever an awkward energy you get from your fans when they know that they're part of like your next special taping?
I worry about that sometimes because I feel like the bigger comedy fans, they love podcast humor. And I think a lot of times they want like trying new, fucking up, crowd work, weird moments. Like, I feel like sometimes when if like these really hardcore comedy fans, some of them want you to be like, Ari Shaffir's got a crazy dick or whatever. So you worry it won't be enough people. Like, I really like sometimes when there's just random people, like, which is nice because a lot of my friends are a lot of my friends, but a lot of my fans are dudes, and they'll bring their wives or girlfriends. I feel like I do better with them, stand-up wise. Yeah, sometimes it can feel a little bit weird, but for the most part, they're hot and they get it, and they know, like, all right, this is a big night. Let's enjoy this.
Yeah, because I could see maybe them being such good fans that they want to like help you, so they're like cheering too loud at like random times, or they're like, oh, this is the big special, we gotta, put too much pressure on themselves as the crowd.
Yeah, I definitely feel that way on every special. When I come out, people are like, and like clap. And I've said it in a couple specials. I'm like, this is gonna seem fake. You gotta like relax. And then I always have YouTube commenters in my head being like, these people were paid. You can hear how much they're wooing. Nobody likes this guy.
Before you go to the movie theater on May 21st, or once you get back, there's another stand-up special coming out that same day that falls into a similar self-produced category as Small Ball. Brent Weinbach's new special, Popular Culture, was also independently created and is premiering on YouTube.
We want to start off. What is the hardest part about self-producing your own special?
Well, the hardest part is, building the stage, building the microphone, building the crew. They're all cyborgs. I had just all cyborgs that worked on this special. And so building them from the ground up, that was pretty hard. I had to definitely look at some old, technical manuals,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
No, sorry, you probably wanted a real answer. Look, probably the hardest thing, just not having the support of a lot of money, just trying to make something that's low budget be as presentable as possible, and making it look as high budget as it can be. Look, this is a low budget special, and I think if you pay close attention to the details, you'll notice that. Just having support with post stuff, like having these proper professionals working on it, or having a lack of proper professionals working on it.
Right.
That's all a challenge, and sort of just, do as good a job you can with color correction and compression and stuff like that, or whatever, all the post stuff that's involved. Doing that from an amateur place, or not exactly an amateur place, but that's all, a bit of a challenge. And also even the promotional aspect of it, when it comes out, is doing that independently is, kind of a challenge. You just have to, do all the social media stuff, or as best you can, booking podcast appearances and stuff and all that,
Is there anything that you like about it compared to traditional methods?
I'm trying to think how I can say yes in any way, but I don't think so. No, maybe I was probably a lot more hands-on with this than my last special, which, wasn't done so independently, I feel like I had to be more hands-on with this because it was of the nature of it,
Yeah, that makes sense.
No, I don't think, I don't think there's really I don't think there's anything better about this, no.
Well, is there any last things that you want people to know about the new special, about upcoming shows, social medias, any last words for the Joke World subscribers?
Well, look, thank you for having me here. Just to the special is called Popular Culture, and it's on YouTube. Just my name, Brent Weinbach, Popular Culture, or you can just go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Brent Weinbach, and it'll be there. And yeah, the special is, well, it's about all the hot pop culture topics like Michael Jackson and Matt Damon and the like, and Elvis Presley. It's pretty silly, you know what I mean? I talk about some stuff I feel like they're relevant topics to today, but it's in a very absurd, kind of silly way. So, it's nothing to take too seriously. But yeah, my YouTube channel, you can check out for other videos. And I do a live stream thing with my sister every Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, called The Chicken Coop. I don't know, my Instagram account is Brent Weinbach Comedy. Yeah, after you check out the Popular Culture, you can check out my first special, Appealing to the Mainstream, which you can watch on my Vimeo account, which is Brent Weinbach.
Oh, let's go.
Guest spots from last week. The Joe Rogan Experience sat down with Dr. Zahai Hawass, Rebecca Lamov, Guy Fieri, and Amanda Knox. Harland Williams was on Kill Tony. Kelsey Cook and Chad Daniels sat on the couch with Soder. John Goblikon stopped by Whiskey Ginger. Two Bears, One Cave was Bert and Tom, and Bert. James McCann and Sean Gardini took a trip to Stuff Island. Ari Spears took a ride on the Harland Highway. Rob Eiler was on the Fat Fish podcast. Craig Ferguson was on Are You Garbage? Mike Corey was on You Be Trippin'. Ed Helms was on We Might Be Drunk. Nick Tarani and Big Cat visited Stavi's World. Shout out to the AWLs. And Bernie Sanders was on Flagrant.
So I can tell you today the Dodge lineup. How's that?
Wow.
Everyone here, Gil Hodges in first base?
No.
Jesus! What the hell do you people do? I told you the educational system is falling apart.
We didn't learn
All right.
You can't name the
Gil
starting
Hodges
lineup now.
Gil Hodges is a great guy, very quiet guy. Later, he managed the Mets years later. All right, the Dodgers are 2 games out of first place. Preachero is pitching. Robinson is batting, 308. If he gets 2 hits, we knew what the averages were. You learned arithmetic.
Through baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could, as a kid, most of the kids on the block could tell you how many games the pitchers had won, who they were playing.
I think now we call that autism.
Ocho Cinco visited this past weekend with Theo Von. Nick Rockefort and Karen Fian were the guests on Legion of Skanks. Story Wars was a battle between Nick, Kevin Ryan, and Crack Amico. Colum Tyrell and Tristan Bolin were on Zach Amico's Morning Zoo. You Know What Dude featured Jim Norton and Yoshi. Uncle Laser was on The Solid Show. Garrett McNamara was on the Duncan Trussell Family Hour. Joe List did stuff with Howie Mandel. Brendan Dunnigan stopped by Durag and the Deer Tag. Bert's dad was on the Bertcast. The Fold had on Doug Polk, Rachel Wolfson, and more. John Marco Cerezi sat in the Wayback. Joe Dombrowski was on the Honeydew. And we interviewed Tom Segura right here on Joke World.
They even told me, they were like, we screened it for internally, and we had people who left the meeting, and then they came into the guy told me they came into my office, and they're like, hey, do you have any more of that we can see?
Oh, wow.
So it's like they were reluctant to say they wanted to see more in front of other people.
That's hilarious.
It is a really fun show. We've put so much into this show. I mean, picture a YMH Live times, 100.
As far as new stand-up comedy specials that are either out right now or coming out soon, Ali Sadiq, My Two Sons, Brett Weinbach, Popular Culture, and Greg Warren, The Champ, are all out on YouTube. Mateo Lane, the Al Dente special, is out on Hulu. And like we said earlier, Joe List Small Ball is out in theaters. There's also a few specials in the works right now that will be coming out soon. That list starts off on May 24th with Gerard Carmichael, Don't Be Gay on Max. May 26th, Mike Birbiglia, The Good Life comes out on Netflix. And on June 1st, Giannis Pappas, Property Owner, will debut on YouTube. And not technically specials, but Josh Johnson and Chrissy D both released new stand-up like usual on their YouTube channels this week. And there's a new episode of Roast Battle out right now with Jeff Ross and Ahmed Singh. And last but not least, we just got back from seeing Jimmy Carr perform at Dave Chappelle's Comedy Club in Yellow Springs, Ohio for next week's comedy news video. So just double check that you're subscribed to the channel right now so you don't miss that. We also just posted a recent video with Tom Segura talking about his new Netflix show Bad Thoughts, which will be on the end screen after this. But thank you so much for watching this video. Check the description below if you want some free Joke World stickers sent to your house in the mail. And anyone watching this video who lives in Austin, Texas, leave a comment below letting me know if you're gonna go see Joe List's new special in theaters. Maybe I'll see you there.
At Joke World. That's it, at Joke World.
And the world is WRLD.
That's a great YouTube channel, Joke World. Check it out.